So later on, we'll be having a discussion on the unemployment crisis in the country and what will impact sourcing is doing to ensure that we bridge that gap. That will be happening later on this broadcast. But first, we take a look at the highlights. Now, Thika Road high-capacity bus lane to cost 5.8 billion shillings. Now, JKIA ranked second fast growing cargo airport in the world. Now, NDMA kicks off food distribution in drought-affected counties. Now, taxpayers will spend 5.8 billion shillings to construct lane for high-capacity buses along Thika Road in a bid to ease Nairobi's traffic congestion. According to Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia, the design will comprise a station, 4-foot bridge as well as a park and ride facility. Kenya National Highways Authority has been mandated to oversee the project, which is one of the 5 buses rapid transport as BRT system corridors in Nairobi. Linda Koske with our details.
The design infrastructure of the Thika high-capacity bus lane will cost the government 5.8 billion shillings, down from 100 billion shillings that experts had previously projected. While appearing before the National Assembly Committee on Transport, the Docket's Cabinet Secretary James Macharia says that each bus is expected to have a capacity of about 160 passengers who will use electronic cards for payment. The legislatures, however, questioned the rationale of importing the high-capacity buses without putting in place supportive infrastructure that is currently at design stage. The government is sourcing the 32 complete buses from South Africa and another 32 machines to be deployed on the already marked Thika Superhighway and other major roads within Nairobi. 4 footbridges under construction on Thika Road are designed as modules for ease of modifications to accommodate BRT services. Further, there will be development of park and ride facility that has been proposed at Kasarani Stadium to be integrated with the commuter rail services. The BRT system is generally designed to improve a city's public transport network relative to conventional buses. Linda Koske, K24 Business.
Now, Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport is the second fastest growing cargo airport in the world. Now, according to the World Airport Traffic Report, JKIA was ranked second in the list of airports, which handles 250,000 metric tons of air cargo in 2018. The airport handled 342,000 tons of air cargo, a growth of 25% compared with the same period last year. The report, which was released by Airports Council International, shows that JKIA was second to Rockford Airport, USA, which handled 306,322 tons of air cargo. Now, low-cost carrier Jumbo Jet has added onto its fleet a new de Havilland Dash 8, which is said to be more fuel efficient as the airline prepares for its maiden trip to Kigali, Rwanda, after being cleared by the Rwanda Civil Aviation Authority to start operations on the route. Jumbo Jet CEO Alan Kilavuka said the airline is expanding its fleet as it plans to fly to more destinations in Africa, especially the East and Central Africa region. Jimmy Mbogo has details.
Well, indeed, thank you very much and a very good afternoon to you too, Caro. Yes, we're currently at the KQ hangar, which was the introduction of this brand new Dash 8 that has been bought by Jumbo Jet. Now this takes the number to about 6 planes, and their hope is by the end of the year, they will be having about 8 planes in their fleet. Now, one of the things about this plane is that it takes about, it has a capacity of about 80 passengers. that is when it's full. And now one of the things that the CEO also mentioned about this plane is that its cost, its fuel efficiency, saying that it will reduce the cost by about 25%. And just to speak to us about this, we're joined by Alan Kilavuka, who is the CEO for Jambo Jet. Mr. Alan, thank you so much for speaking to us. First of all, congratulations on this new plane. Maybe one of the things that you aim to achieve by introducing this new plane, what is that thing?
Yeah, thank you. So there are a couple of things actually, but the biggest one of them is giving our customers variety, giving our customers choice. Because our promise always has been to our customers is that we afford them reliable and safe travel, on top of just affordability and convenience. So here what we're saying is we're introducing a new aircraft, which is just as good as a jet engine, because this is a turboprop engine. But at the same time, we can, because of our model, because of the way we model our business, we can reduce the airfares and make it more affordable for more people to travel, demystify air travel, and like we've done in the past, where we've had 30% of our passengers being first-time travelers, even increase that more, and just basically increase the ability for people to move from place to place easily.
All right, now talk to me about we've seen the likes of Uganda Airline coming back into the market. We've seen Air Tanzania also trying to come back into the market. How is this sort of going to change the landscape?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we'll wait and see, but again, for me, I've said it many times that competition is good, but fair competition, okay? And by that I mean, if we are all on the level playing field, we are quite comfortable to compete with anybody, because I think we offer a very good value proposition to our customers.
All right, because there's also the issue of a lot of customers that I have been able to speak to over the past. One of the complaints that they have, especially with domestic flights, is the fact that I've already paid for my plane ticket, but then there are also additional charges. If, let's say, I want to get something during the flight, I'm supposed to pay extra. How do we address this?
Yeah. So, I mean, again, this is a model. It's a business model. So the thinking behind this model is very simple. You say you should only charge people for what they need. Okay. So in other words, if you just need to fly from here, and there are many people who want to do that. They want to fly from Nairobi to Mombasa, and that's all they want. They just want to get to Mombasa. Yeah. Then they should only pay for getting to Mombasa. But what we don't want to do is to say, okay, we want to charge you for going to Mombasa, and on top of that, we'll charge you for a meal, which you will not have. We'll charge you also for bags, which you don't carry. We'll charge you for this and that and the other. So we say we strip out and say we will only charge you for what you want to use, which is you want to sit on a seat and get to Mombasa. Now, okay. There are some people who say, yes, I want that, and on top of that, I also want a meal or a snack. Then okay, and how much do you want for the snack? Again, it depends. So we don't want to standardize. In other words, what we're trying to do is we're trying to be sensitive to the customer and focus on each customer is individual. They are separate. They need different things. So we price it based on what they actually want. Okay. Some customers want to carry a lot of luggage. Some none at all. So okay. So if you want to carry a lot of luggage, then you want to pay for that. If you don't want, then you don't pay for anything.
Okay.
That's the thinking behind the model.
All right. Now, as we almost wind up our interview, one of the things that you have said during the Q&A session is the fact that by the end of the year, you're looking to have about 8 planes. Now, in terms of customer numbers, what is your target by the end of the year?
So every year we fly about 700,000 people. Okay. Every year we say we want to increase that by 10%. Okay. Because we are getting them at the end of the year, so we will not be able to have a substantive increase. So maybe the best way to do it is that this year we think we'll get to about 800,000 passengers on our flights. But next year, because we'll have doubled our fleet, we expect to double that number as well. Okay. Yeah. Now, it's all dependent on many things, including the fact that if we are going to be able to get rights to different destinations, then of course we'll be able to do that. And also, when we initiate a route, it starts slow, right? Because people have got to learn the route, the timing, and so on and so forth. But then it picks up midway through the year.
All right, Alan, I will not be forgiven if I go without asking how much investment was put into this.
Yeah, so our model for this particular equipment is to lease the aircraft, not to buy it. Okay, so we have leased this aircraft for a long-term lease for a period of 10 years, and so there is no capital outlay up front. So it's substantive.
I believe that's a good note to end it. However, we will be trying to see if we can try and sweet talk you later on to give us more information on this course. But for now, that's all the time we've got from this end. Back to you, Karen, studio.
Now, the National Drought Management Authority has raised concerns over the worsening drought situation in Isiolo County, with over 50,000 people and 100,000 animals in urgent need of help. Speaking in his office after flagging off a consignment of 6,000 bags of livestock pellets for distribution in the most affected areas in Isiolo, NDMA Coordinator Lordman Lelkalkuli said that the feeds will help in curbing the biting drought. Sarah Adam with our reports.
Government is holding talks with foreign states to relax trade barriers in a bid to allow Kenyan exporters to access international markets. According to Economic Survey 2019, Kenya exported goods worth 541.5 billion against imports of 1.7 trillion.
We want to inform Kenyans that we're working very hard to address the imbalance in our trade. We have now a national trade policy that has been developed and approved by Cabinet in order to address that imbalance. The imbalance has been that imports are now 3 times more than exports.
Most of the exports include agricultural produce, tea, horticultural articles of apparel and clothing, accessories, coffee and tobacco. Speaking today when launching the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service Strategic Plan, Kipto said in order to tame the huge imbalance, government needs to come in and negotiate.
The challenge with the US is to make sure we meet the stringent requirements. And those requirements are very stringent. The Americans cannot allow certain products from Kenya if they don't meet the requirements of that market. So what then we are doing is to work backwards to make sure that through KFIs and other institutions, our producers are able to produce products not only of good quality, but also of adequate amounts.
Further, the government will continue to facilitate exporters to exploit various global trade arrangements. Sarah Adam, K24 for Inside Business.
Now to other stories making headlines, and we'll look at the latest from the manufacturing sector, where the extension of the ban on logging by the government has forced local manufacturers who made a living out of wood products to find new ways of coping, with some seeking alternative ways to sustain their businesses. However, the slow clearance pace of their cargo at the port has seen their cost of production go up, a situation that has seen most of them incur huge losses. Jimmy Bongo with that reports.
A moratorium on logging, which has been in place since February 2018, following a public outcry over illegal logging that was blamed for the diminishing water level in the country's key rivers, is now the cost of pain to the local manufacturers, who have been forced to now look at alternative ways to sustain their business. We meet Stanley Ndinguri, a local manufacturer who has been in the wood business for close to a decade, and he tells us since the ban was put in place, business has not been the same.
I've been in furniture manufacturing for quite some time, and we have been doing wood, but due to the scarcity of the wood, because as you know, there's ban in our forest that there's no timber that is coming from our factory there. Okay. And this is where this came in.
However, like most of his peers, he has been forced to keep his business afloat by inventing and looking at alternative raw materials, where he switched from using wood to metal and synthetic plastic. However, the cost of importing the synthetic plastic has been on the rise, owing to cargo delays at the port.
Ordering time you can be given by the supplier about 2 weeks, then 1 month. That is a shipping time. And then once the material runs into the port, it can take another whole month to clear. So at times it goes to, and you see this is something that should take about less than 2-3 days. The delays in port takes almost a whole month. If the clearing or our port systems can be set in a way that the delays will be eliminated, and also maybe the tariffs will be looked after, I think then it can help us to be able to make profit and be able to employ more people.
He, like many others, are now calling on the government to streamline the port clearance process to enable them create more employment and support the government's agenda on manufacturing. They say necessity is the mother of all inventions in the world. And as wood became expensive for Stanley, like any other reasonable businessman, he was forced to adapt to reduce his cost of production and maximize his profit. Jimmy Bogo, K24 Business.
Now, the unemployment crisis in Kenya continues to rise, with youth being the most affected. In an era where the country is increasingly switching to a digital economy, something needs to be done to harness the essential digital savviness of its youth so as to equip them with the skills to pursue opportunities that lead to formal employment and prepare them for the future of work. And joining us today is Liliosa Mbirimi, Impact Manager at Samsos, to expound more on this. Welcome to our studios.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe we can start by, for some of us who maybe do not know what impact sourcing is all about, and also share with us its contribution to the economy.
So impact sourcing is a business model that provides cost and quality at parity with a traditional business process outsourcing model. And Samsos pioneered this model to solve for the world's biggest problem, which is poverty. And we are doing this by actually solving directly for unemployment. What we do is we harness the power of the digital economy to give work to youth across the globe, particularly in third world countries where unemployment is very, very high. So once they get a job, what happens is they are able to change their living standards at their own will. They are able to earn a sustainable living and be producers of the economy rather than just consumers.
Okay, so why does Samsos, you're the impact manager, use this impact sourcing maybe as a model, maybe to solve the unemployment crisis in the country?
There are so many people that are unemployed, not only in Kenya, but in Africa in general. And when we are using this model, we are tapping into what the digital economy is offering outside of Africa and ensuring that people from marginalized communities here in Kenya actually get to have a job and earn above a living wage. And this breaks the cycle of poverty in their lives while they are earning fundamental skills that will make them relevant in artificial intelligence. What we're doing at Samsos is we are experts in training ground truth data for artificial intelligence algorithms, so things like self-driving cars to smart hardware like audio, augmented reality or virtual reality. So the people that we are hiring probably did not imagine that they'll be working in artificial intelligence. We have an over 70% unemployment rate in Kenya, and guys are coming to us so that they can get an entry-level job. But what we are finding is that when they start off working with us, they actually get skills that they can utilize in the larger market.
Okay, so far how many youths have benefited from this impact sourcing model?
We started up in 2008. And up till now, we have had over 11,000 youth benefiting from this model. In Kenya alone, we have had over 5,000 youth benefiting. And what's interesting is that 52% of them are female, which helps us break the myth that the digital economy is solely for men and not female. So 52% of them are female. And we have been able to close the gender pay gap where men primarily earn more than female, but in Samsos we are paying equal salaries for equal work.
So how do you go about the recruitment process?
So, like I said, the majority of the people that are working at Samsos are from low-income backgrounds. They go to our website and they apply for our training program. We have a 2-week crush program on digital literacy and machine learning that they take before they join Samsos. And this equips them with skills to work in any digital company. But for them to join Samsos, they actually have to apply. And this is, like any other organization, it's on merit. It's based on your soft skills and your technical skills.
Okay. When we did a little bit of research, we saw that impact sourcing results to a more motivated workforce, and maybe for companies, and it enables them to increase their global competitiveness. Maybe you can share with us about how have you seen the recruitment of these young people that you have for the last couple of years? How has it been for the young people out there in the workforce?
It has definitely been a motivating factor for the young people. Our model is based off of what we call micro work. So we get large data sets from tech companies across the globe, and then we break them into small tasks that we allocate to each person who's going to be working on them. And how this is motivating is that they are working on algorithms for artificial intelligence. And this is very complex work, to be honest, but we're training them to be high performers from the very beginning and deliver high quality standards on ground truth data by breaking the work into small chunks, and they're able to learn at scale.
Okay, and how do you maybe determine the performance and output of your the youths that you're training in Samasos as well as you compare with the traditional workforce?
Our organization is a very high-performing environment. We are training them to be high performers, and we actually have 3 quality gates before the data is actually transformed into the tech that the client wants. And so we're training them from the very, very beginning to be high performers. And it's very hard to see a difference between someone who is coming from a marginalized background and someone who has gotten a degree from Kenyatta University or Nairobi University, because they're all performing at scale.
Okay, maybe you can describe to us whether you have received any support from the government or the private sector in terms of rolling out this impact sourcing model.
As a tech company, we are receiving a lot of support from the ICT ministry. Samasos is basically a leader in artificial intelligence. There are very few people that are doing this, so we are thought leaders in this environment. So we have a lot of support from the ICT ministry. Joe Mushero and his team have been very, very supportive. And we are also a large part of the private sector, because we are actually a limited company here in Kenya. And we have relations with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. And most importantly, as tech grows in Kenya, we are a large part of the artificial intelligence ecosystem, and that makes a huge difference.
Okay, for the maybe young people out there who want maybe to apply or maybe want to be recruited at Samasos, maybe to do something in artificial intelligence, maybe you can share with us what's the period, the training period, and also before you recruit, what is the requirements?
So this is an entry-level job. So the basic requirement we're looking at is, at minimum, a high school certificate, knowledge of Microsoft Suite, where you will use a lot of Google Docs to achieve our work. And so we're looking at people that have the basics in computers. They have their minimum high school diploma, and then when they come in, we do all the training for them from scratch.
Okay, are there like long-term plans maybe to extend training to this youth?
Absolutely. So we've been in Kenya for the past 10 years, and right now we have 2,000 youth that are working at our center training ground truth data for big tech companies. And we're looking at multiplying that number by 5 in line with what the government's Big 4 agenda is.
Okay. Do you have long-term plans maybe in terms of advice you can give actually to the government, the private sector, in terms of solving this unemployment crisis? And we've seen in the first half of the year, we've seen layoffs of many workers, and right now there's a crisis. What would you say about that?
Our focus needs to be on the manufacturing industry. Our GDP growth when it comes to manufacturing is very, very low. So if we can focus our attention on that, then it would help with unemployment. We've got a lot of people getting laid off because the manufacturing industry is not thriving. And that is the difference that the government could make.
Okay, thank you for coming to our studios.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, that has been Liliose Mirimi, who is Impact Manager at Samasos Kenya, talking about how we can use impact sourcing model maybe to solve some the unemployment crisis among the youth in the country. Now, moving on to other stories, the National Drought Management Authority has raised concerns over the worsening drought situation in Isiolo County, with over 50,000 people and 100,000 animals in urgent need of help. Speaking in his office after flagging off a consignment of 6,000 bags of livestock pellets for distribution in the most affected areas in Isiolo, NDMA Coordinator Lordman Lelkakuli said that the fees will help in curbing the biting drought. Sarah Adam with that report.
The National Drought Management Authority has kicked off food distribution in most affected parts of Isiolo County. The authority coordinator, Lordman Lekakuli, said this will help the pastorists to feed their animals.
Tutapatiana katika hizo ward zingine ambayo ni Ngaremara, Chari, Oldonyiro na Burat na hata hapa town tutapatiana, kwa sababu kila tunakitaka kuhakikisha kuwa mifugo ambayo imeathirika na ile ambayo tunaona ambayo ziko at risk ni 20,000.
He further added that all 10 wards in Isiolo County are affected, adding that the authority will soon flag off yet another consignment of similar feeds for distribution.
Buza itaelekea 20,000 liters ambayo itaelekea upande itasaidia upande ya Garbatula na Sericho, wale wananchi wako pale.
Elders from Isiolo have faulted both the county and national governments, accusing them of failure to act when drought situation is threatening to wipe out livestock, hence putting lives of pastoralist community who rely on the animals for their livelihood on the line.
Ile kitu tunapata faida kidogo, ngamia ndio iko na maziwa kidogo kwa shauri ya miti ya madhuri. Hiyo maziwa ndio inalisha hiyo ng'ombe na hiyo mbuzi. Hasa kama mimi sasa mtu kutoka sehemu za Burat, nimetoka kutoka Burat nimeenda karibu na jirani yangu. Nimesonga hapo kidogo.
The elders called upon the county veterinary department to intensify operations in the drought-stricken areas, arguing that they are forced to attend to the sick animals. Sarah Adam, K24 for Inside Business.
Thank you, Sarah, for that update. Now, residents of Marol Town in Samburu County have threatened to sue Kenya Power and Lighting Company for failing to supply electricity in the area, saying that all the company has developed in 3 years is to erect electricity posts, with none having them installed with a transformer. Now, the protesters expressed fear that they might never see their houses get connected to power after the company changed its operations. They say the government might have presumed the area is located in a remote area and might not see the need for them having electricity. They now want the county government to intervene and to ensure that their issues are addressed. This even as Jubilee government races to connect poor households to the national grid.
Tangu tuwekewe hizi post hata sasa tunaita bonoko, miaka 6 imepita. Tangu 2016, 2015. Na sisi kama wakazi wa hapa tumechoka, kwa sababu wakora siku hizi wanakuja kuishi hapa kwetu. Kuku zinaibiwa, hatuwezi tembea hata kwa jirani kwa sababu ya giza, na stima imekuwa necessity kwa hii dunia. Na hapa ni karibu na center, karibu na town. Majirani yetu like 1 kilometer, some few meters wako na stima, wengine chini yetu wako na stima. Kwa nini sisi hatuna? Post zinasimama tu bure. Tunataka tuwekwe stima kwa sababu stima ni necessity sana. Tunataka kwa sababu tunataka security kwa watoto, security kwa sisi. Na hawashukui simu, tumeenda ku apply stima many times, hawashukui simu yetu. Saizi it is 6 years, mimi nimeishi hapa 10 years, but 6 years hawajatuwekea stima. So tunaomba watu wa stima wakuja watoe hii mapost zao kama watuwekee stima. Na kama anaweka stima tunawapatia 3 days.
Na stima inaleta kazi. Ndio. Mtu atajifungulia saloon, tuko na center hapa chini. Hii center iko hapa chini, mtu anafungua kinyozi, ama atafungua saloon, ama atafanya welding, na stima ndio inawezesha kufanya hiyo kazi. Hata garage wanaweza weka.
Now, that roundup, or rather the story on Kenya Power, brings to a close Inside Business for today. My name is Njenga, and have a great weekend.